Good evening, Python for Data Science community. Today we're going to be talking about how to quickly set up and use a simple SQLite database using the SQLite module and Pandas. You'll be able to get this up and running and populated with data in just a few lines of code, which is awesome. Now, it's unlikely you'll be releasing a SQLite database into a production environment, but knowing how to get one up and running quickly can be very useful for prototyping. Say you're developing locally and either don't have access to your staging databases or don't want to interrupt the flow of your work to build a production level connection. You can use a local SQLite database as a placeholder until you're ready to implement the more sophisticated connection. A SQLite database is also more portable and language agnostic than a Python data frame, so it's good for storing information that needs to be passed back and forth between different services or languages. And also, if you're new to data science or SQL in general, SQLite databases are a great learning tool. In a few lines, you can set up a local database that will let you query to your heart's content. What we're going to do in this short example is create a local SQLite database, write a pandas data frame to it, then query it with some SQL. First, no surprise, we need to import the relevant libraries and generate a pandas data frame to work with. So we'll do that with the SQLite module is a core Python package, so there's no need to install anything there. I'm going to assume that you've already installed pandas before too, but if not, check out my earlier video that covers how to set up your data science environment. One of the most important steps in this process is creating and connecting to the SQLite database, so let's get that out of the way now. We'll do that with the SQLite.connect method. There are a few things to note about this command. The first is that the SQLite database will be created in the location specified by the path you enter here. So this doesn't really look like a path because it's just usually the working directory that we're in right now, but what this is going to do is create a file called abalone.db that's going to store our database. The second thing to note here is that the database will be named whatever precedes the .db in the file name we pass. And another thing to note related to that is that you can create this file however you want to. You can send this a fully specified path and it will create it somewhere else in another directory if you want to. And then third, if the database doesn't already exist in the specified location, this is going to create it. If it does exist, it will connect to it. If it doesn't exist, it's going to create it. Either way, the connect method returns a SQLite connection object, and we can verify that that has worked by printing it. First, let's run this to get everything set up, and then we print that object, and we can see that we have a SQLite connection object. Great, everything's working fine so far. So we have our database up and running, but we don't have any tables in it. We can fix that easily with the pandas to_SQL method. But we don't have a pandas data frame either. So let's pull down an example data frame from one of my favorite sources, the UC Irvine Machine Learning Data Repository. Incidentally, if you want to know how to do that, there's a previous hot take that covers that in 5 or 6 minutes. I'll use the abalone data again because snails data, why not? There are a few preliminaries for setting that example data frame up, so I'm just going to copy and paste those in so you don't have to sit through me typing them out. Now that we have an example data frame to work with, let's use it to create tables in our database. We can use the pandas to_SQL with the connection object we created before to send our snail data frame to our database. So just to point out here, our snail data frame is df here. We can verify that by printing it as well. We can see that we've got some rows and columns like we would expect. And so we're going to take that data frame. We're going to use the pandas method to Okay, so the to_SQL command will create a table with the name that we specify in the first parameter, in this case snails, and it will insert the contents of the data frame into that. And you can see here that we pass the name as the first parameter and then the connection object as the second parameter. And now the payoff. We can query this database and table as much as we want using regular SQL queries and the pandas read_SQL method. Say we want to select 5 male snails from the data. We pass read_SQL the query we want to run, and our SQLite connection object, and voila, we get 5 rows of data just as we would expect, and they're all male snails. And there you go. That's all there is to setting up a SQLite database, getting some data into it, and querying it. It's a handy little tool for quick prototyping and practicing SQL. As always, the link to this code will be posted in the description, and don't forget to subscribe to be notified when new videos are released. And if you would like to see more videos on this topic, let me know by liking or commenting. Enjoy.